Alright, we should be live. We're back. We're working on Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Here she is if you need a reminder of what she does. Didn't stream deck building yesterday. Had a whole issue with my setup. Like, my speakers went, and I had to go out and get a new set and hook those up, which is way more of a problem than it should be, given how cramped and tightly packed together everything is back here. My recording area, so that took like a good hour between driving over there, getting it, coming back, and pulling out the old one and putting the new ones in. So, yeah, more of an ordeal than it should be, but that's typical for me. So, all right, so we left off, we're at 98 cards, so we need to cut probably, I'd say, a minimum of 33 more cards off the list. So, hmm. I do want land tax to stay because we're going to go lighter on land. So a lot of the time, land tax is just going to be grab a bunch of lands from our deck every single turn until we have enough mana to actually function. Also, we do still have Sensei's Divining Top, so knowing if and when we need to shuffle, also very helpful. It might be Ensnaring Bridge. It's not exactly on topic. It's more of a defensive card to stop other people from killing us while still being vulnerable to Arabella because she's so low power that it's very hard for us to not be able to attack with her with Ensnaring Bridge in play. Like, in theory, we are drawing our card for the turn, and there's not a whole lot of cards that can stop that. So, we should have at least one card in hand every turn. So it's more a question of can they pump Arabella high enough so that I can attack with her because of my own Ensnaring Bridge. Um, it is one of the cards though that we don't need and is not like 100% on topic for Arabella. So I'm guessing it's going to have to go just because we're at that point where I need to cut stuff and everything is good in the deck. So sorry, Ensnaring Bridge. And you're welcome, people who don't have an Ensnaring Bridge who wanted to build this deck exactly. It might be Gratuitous Violence and just run the other three as damage multipliers. I would like to keep it, though. I also like to keep Mobilization, but it might not be able to make it all the way through. We might have to lean on the things that just make a bunch of tokens once instead of a token every 3 mana every single turn cycle. It is a very good mana sink, though, when we don't have anything else going on to try and set up Arabella for a big hit. But it's possible that we just need to rely on our other things more to get there. All of our creatures that make more creatures, and our instant, or, well, our instant sorceries, because only one of them is actually an instant that make X token creatures. Oh, no, wait. I'm forgetting Grand Crescendo because it's in there to protect our stuff and be a way to make more tokens. But yeah, Secure the Waste is the one I was thinking of when I said only one instant. But those two are instants, the other two are sorceries, and then there's the one creature with Convoke. Kind of want to keep the Sun Standard because it's really easy to pump our team a bunch with it, but maybe it's Jazal I need to get rid of, although Jazal is a huge bonus, like potentially way more than this thing can do. But you kind of see him coming, unfortunately, because he's already a 4-drop and 5 to activate, or the other way around. 5-drop and 4 to activate, and either way, um, we're not going to have the 9 mana that we need to play him and activate him in the same turn. Whereas this thing, we might be able to play it and activate it twice in the same turn, realistically. Want the Greaves, the Skull Clamp, and the Well of Lost Dreams. Want Kiki, Sensei's Top, Master of Warcraft, yes. Darien, yes. Mirror Entity, yes. Revelark, probably. Like, I can see cutting the Revelark, but that's one less card to buy back all of our little things, and it does buy back most of our token makers, is the thing. So the fact that I can get back two of them is probably a big enough game. Mystic, we have enough equipment. I want to keep the Stone Forge. Blade Hold is fine. Don't think I can cut Requiem Angel. Like, Requiem Angel being in play basically means that you do not want to use a board wipe to kill all of our tokens. Since they won't be spirits, we will get replacement flying tokens, and it's even worse if you're killing everything and you're not getting rid of like one of the token doublers. That would be very difficult if it's not Anointed Procession, because then only Mondrak becoming indestructible actually works. And I mean, what does Mondrak need? Is it sacrificing other permanents? Because if it's that, we can probably make Mondrak indestructible in response. So yeah, either one of them not going away when they wrath the board means I'm going to have a larger army than I had when they cast the spell left over afterwards, so I don't think I can get rid of Requiem Angel. Assemble the Legion is too good. Frontline Medic. I'll keep Elspeth. Would like to keep Perforos. I don't know. Maybe Leon and Sun Standard can go because Perforos is close enough and doing other stuff on top of that. Like, for 6 mana, we're only getting 2 extra power and no toughness. But we're also getting the double impact tremors. Yeah, maybe that's enough of an argument to lose the Sun Standard, and we'll just run Perforos and maybe Jazal. Maybe we lose Jazal also, but we only have so much room for all of these effects, so gotta lose stuff, then it's gotta be things where we have better versions and we can afford to not have every version. Like, it might still be Oketra's Monument going too. I did do a count and we did have enough creatures for the monument to be pretty effective. Also, the fact that the monument stays in play through creature wraths, like, as long as we're not getting hit by Farewell or something that's killing all of our artifacts and enchantments randomly, which, still a viable option, but I think Oketra's Monument is one of the ones where it will get to sit and play if it's not getting swept away. It's not the primary target for anything, and there will be way more problematic artifacts. So it's just a question of, do they have a mass artifact removal spell that will kill the monument also? Because otherwise we lose all of our creatures, and then every creature I play is another 1/1 on top of that afterwards. It is only for the main creature, though, which is the argument against Oketra's Monument, and we do have the mobilization as a thing that dodges creature-based board sweepers that lets me start redeploying immediately. And that one doesn't require me to have creatures in hand. It also makes my white creature spells one less to cast, but that's only okay. Yeah, we need to make room, and I don't think I can cut any more of the removal, so it's got to be some of the token makers probably have to go. That's true. We also have Castle Ardenvale, which is 5 mana to make a 1/1, which is a bit much, but at the same time, if we have our creatures and we're deploying them, the Oketra's Monument is probably less essential. And if we don't have creatures to deploy, then a card like Castle Embreth becomes a lot more helpful. It's taking up a land slot instead, so that's added bonus at that point. I do want to keep all of these. It might be Welcoming Vampire, honestly. Like, the non-creature card draw is more important when our creatures are all dying, and Welcoming Vampire when our creatures aren't dying is nice, because we're going to draw an extra card off of it basically every turn, but that's a lot more incentive to kill all of my creatures on top of that. And we do still have Tocacious Welcome. We have Enduring Innocence, which at least when that one dies, if it's not getting exiled, we're getting it back. So maybe it is Welcoming Vampire as the most redundant. Yeah, we have Well of Lost Dreams and Skull Clamp and Welcome and Innocence. I think we have like one or two other card draw. I know we got rid of the Dawn's Hope or whatever, but I think we only have so much room, and I think this is the weakest of our remaining card draw, so. Possible we lose Skrelv's Hive, as I fixed the typo there that I never fixed. The one in the main thing after I noticed it in the sub list. It is one of the 2 drops I like the most, though, in this deck, as far as I'm going to get onto the board early. Like, it's one of the few 2 drops I would cast over Arabella to put bodies on the table, as opposed to ramping our mana first and then casting all of our spells. I think I keep Skrelv's Hive for right now. That's right. We have the One Ring on the list too for card draw. So yeah, we have tons of card draw. We can afford to lose the Welcoming Vampire. Want to keep everything for right now. All right, we have other Boots and Greaves. I do need Arabella to be able to attack when she comes down, but we have the other two, and we have Stoneforge Mystic to go fetch them. It's possible if this were equip 0, I might want it instead of um, Swiftfoot Boots, just because the mana's going to be a little bit tight, but I want to keep all of these. Experimentation, Subira. Maybe we can lose Recruiter of the Guard. It's also possible we could lose both recruiters. Um, Artifacts. Hello, welcome to the channel. How are you doing today? Possible we could lose both of them. Like, there's no specific creature that we need. Like, we have a bunch of utility creatures and a bunch of ones that are pseudo combo pieces. Like, there's no, we're going to just win the game on the spot with anything with Arabella right now. We did get rid of Felidar Guardian and Bellringer, so don't necessarily need any of the tutors for creatures. Because most of the time, what they're going to be tutoring for is like Kiki or any one of the token makers. I'm doing fine. Yeah, maybe we don't actually need them. Like, they're fine in the deck and it's useful. We can definitely lose the Recruiter of the Guard because there's a handful of creatures that it can't tutor for that the Imperial Recruiter can. Things like Jolly Balloon Man, Subira. I know there are others. I can't quite think of them right now, but we definitely have more 2 power with higher toughness creatures than we have um, creatures with lower toughness that we would. They're like there's no 3-1 or 3-2 that we're tutoring for in this deck, but there are 2-3s and 1-4s and other things of similar size. So actually, I think the only one that we can tutor for is the Wildfire Awakener with Recruiter that we can't get with Imperial. So yeah, definitely don't want to lose the. Let's go back to the top of the thing because I was thinking about all the stuff that we can get with the one recruiter that we can't get with the other, so might have glossed over stuff. And it can still be Ocelot's Pride. It could also still be Ojer Talk. It could be both of them, honestly. Just use Mondrak and Anointed Procession. Hawk's bad because she's 3 mana. Ocelot Pride is bad because it's not until the end of the turn, and we need to have the city's blessing in order to double up the tokens. And both of those are questionable because of that. The problem is if we lose both of them, our token doublers are Mondrak and Anointed Procession. And I think I want at least one more, and probably both at that point, even if they're not the best. But it does mean we have less room for stuff, and we lose Ryonia. She's about the same as any of the on my turn only Kiki variants, but that means that she's about the same as Jolly Balloon Man, I think. Like, we already lost Jaxus, so it's Balloon Man, Kiki, Reflection, and what's its name? Calamity. So do we need Rionia also and her ability to copy stuff? It's really nice that if I cast if I Swords to Plowshare as a creature on my turn, I can make like 2 copies of Beetleback Chief or something, and just because she's sitting in play. But that's true of a lot of our copy cards. We can just go ahead and do that. So we always get the one anyway, and we have to cast a spell beforehand for her to copy stuff. And I don't see us actually storming off. Like, we need to cast instants and sorceries, and all of our instants and sorceries are defensive in nature. They're removal spells, wrath effects, or like things to protect our creatures. So it's very rare that we're going to do more than like kill a creature or an artifact or enchantment and then get two copies. So in that case, she's about the same as Jolly Balloon Man. So I think we can go ahead and lose Rionia. As the most redundant version of that effect we have. Like, Calamity is a mana more, but we get two copies guaranteed. As long as we can saddle an attack with it. And let's be honest, if they're killing Calamity before I can saddle an attack with it, they're killing Rionia before combat, so they stop her trigger too, so. Unless, they don't know what she does and kind of assume that they do before I get to start making copies. Because people are more familiar with Calamity than they are with Rionia. Alright, so what'd we lose? The Standard, Monument, Vampires 3, 4, 5, 6. Down here, we get rid of that. Around here somewhere. Oh, do I not have Rionia listed? That's weird because she does make. Then again, I don't have Kiki listed, do I? Okay, that makes more sense then. Card draw, we lose the Welcoming Vampire. Yeah, we still have all of these as card draw, and they're pretty efficient. Oh, sad robot. I mean, it does draw me cards, and I do have ways to copy it, so not like it's completely unreasonable. Alright, so we cross those 6 off the list. Bring us down to 92, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and then Staring Bridge was 7, right. I couldn't see it before because it wouldn't scroll down all the way. Alright. Yeah, it brings us down to 91. So we're making progress. Slowly, painfully, but surely, we are making progress. Get some more water. Alright, protecting our attackers, specifically our commander. We still have Reconnaissance, Darksteel Plate, Frontline Medic, Mithril Coat, Odric to make her unblockable, essentially, and Subira. Is it possible we lose Odric? I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to attack with him once at most before people realize, oh, I can just decide that you don't block. And that's a huge problem. Like, that's even worse than all of your creatures block my one random 1/1. Because maybe you have lifelink stuff or something, and I would actually lose out on damage, essentially. But yeah, after that, I'm pretty sure Odric just dies. He is only 4 mana, though. And we should be able to get up to 4 creatures. I do think Subir is just better, though. 1 mana, Arabella is unblockable, and then if anything else needs to be, 1 mana for each of them. I do think Odric is better than Frontline Medic, though. Frontline medic. If things go sideways, like if they make our creatures lose indestructible or something, we still got we still can make them not be able to block with Odric, but the medic now is committed to the attack. And honestly, reconnaissance is still our best. We can attack freely, it doesn't matter card in the deck, so. And the medic is an A2 power creature. And the medic itself actually has to be able to attack too. It's not like, although Odric has to attack, right? It's like when this and 3 other creatures, yeah. So it's not like I can play Odric and attack with everything else, and we'll be fine. It's also possible it's Darksteel Plate. Mithril Code is only 1 more to cast, and the plate doesn't have flash. And it's not like we don't have enough equipment to go grab with Stoneforge anyway, since she can still go. She gets to grab Skull Clamp for the card advantage, Boots and Greaves for the haste and protection, and whichever one of these I keep to allow Arabella to attack as an indestructible creature. So I do think we have enough targets for her, even if we lose one of them. We also will have Access Tunnel and Rogue's Passage to let Arabella attack freely, so. Yeah, we can probably lose the Darksteel and the front line then, and just go with the other ones that we have. Darksteel, front line. Alright. Okay, got frontline medic off the list. And Darksteel. No, not the set. Armor. Okay. Both of them off the list. Brings us down to 89. So at least 24 more cards have to go. This is always so brutal. I know I did a count to double check my math, but I just want to do one more count real quick just to make sure we are actually at 84 still. It'd be really funny if I managed to miscount twice, though. But, yeah, real quick. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, 6, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 4, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 7, 8, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 9, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, and 89. Okay, count's accurate. Count is depressingly accurate. So we just need to actually cut 20 more things off of this list. Alright, I think Sad Robot's going. He is doing much better in this deck than he has been in the past few decks that he's been cut from, as both a 2-power creature for Arabella and a reasonable target for all of the Kiki Jiki variants. But I think it's just a little too low impact nowadays. Sorry, Sad Robot. I too am sad that you're not making the deck. But we have better card draw, and we have enough things to ramp / find us land, so I think we can afford to lose him. And I love everything we have left. So it's just making it incredibly hard to go, yeah, we can lose this card. It's not going to work out the way we hoped. Or we just don't have room for it sitting alongside everything else. I am wondering if I lose Jazal just because I don't have room for him, and 9 mana is an awful lot to ambush somebody with him. So it might just be Perforos, because at least Perforos is indestructible, so I don't think we need a huge power boost. Like, Jazal is basically Craterhoof Behemoth in how he's functioning in the deck, except for the fact that you can break his casting cost up into 2 payments instead of... But then you'd lose out on the ambush factor, and opponents can interact with it. It might just be the Hive. There's so much going into the idea that Arabella is a 2 initially, so she's always going to be our 2-drop, that we don't need other 2s necessarily. It is one of the better 2-drops we could play instead of her. I really don't want to cut it, but I keep coming back to it as a thing I can cut. Because it's way worse in the mid to late game. Like, if I just cast this on, like, turn 5, and then we have to wait until next turn to get a 1/1, that's kind of medium. And it just keeps getting worse the later the game goes. It might be the Hive. I keep looking at it as a thing I might cut, and at this point, I think I just need to go, okay, if it's going to keep coming up as a thing I can cut, then it probably needs to be the thing I do cut. Yeah, we're only at like 35 minutes, so we got plenty of time to keep going and finding things. Want to cut any of those? Want to cut any of these? Don't really want to cut Strionic Resonator either. Strionic is okay. Like, it's 2 mana to copy a triggered ability, and that means it can copy Arabella's damage trigger. It can copy any of the comes into play abilities on our other creatures. So for 2 extra mana, we get more tokens out of Beetleback Chief and Siege Gang Commander and whatnot. Yeah, it's probably too good to cut. Probably too good. Maybe it's not. I really like this Ajani in this deck. I do want to keep him. Maybe it's Abdel. Maybe Abdel's too much of a cute trick. Abdel's insanely strong if we have any of the token doublers in play. But maybe we don't need him also. Could be Abdel. It could be Darian. Like, I do like the idea of Darian where we gain so much life from Arabella that we can just tank hits and make bodies or force the opponents to kill him. Abdel is kind of on the other side of the equation where it's like he kind of forces you to wrath and then potentially undoes the wrath a little bit by having some of the permanents hiding underneath him where they're safe. Mm. Yeah, they're both potential cuts at this point. So's Jazal. Alright, now I'm going back and forth between the Storm of Souls and the Revel Arc in my head. They're both potentially very powerful, but neither one of them is really that essential. Like, there's no one specific creature. The same reason why I didn't need the tutor creatures in order to find stuff. Like, I don't necessarily need um ways to get any given creature back. Like, all of them have their uses and all of them are potentially powerful, but none of them are essential. Like, the only essential one is actually our commander. Everything else is interchangeable. Basically, it's just, can I get it into play and make more bodies with it so that Arabella hits harder? Like, none of them are, oh, if I keep this one specifically, like the closest ones we have to if I keep this one specifically are things like Ocelot Pride and like the token multipliers, and we can only do so much to get them back. Like, yes, I can get the Pride specifically back with Revel Arc, but Revel Arc doesn't get back Mondrak, and it never gets back Ojertok because she never goes to the graveyard long enough. But Yeah, maybe we don't need Storm of Souls or Revelark. The Revelark, though, at least being copied with the Kiki variants does a lot of damage. So yeah, maybe we can lose the Storm of Souls at least. Possibly the Revelark still. I like how the Revelark goes from being the thing that's like, I don't really need to get anything back to, but what if I got everything back? Like, I don't need it to get back Kiki, but Kiki copying it is just so much damage because the token's going to go away and we're going to get back two things. Yeah, it's actually a lot more powerful to use the Revelark as the thing that we're copying than it is to use the Revelark to get back the things that let us copy stuff. Alright, so we lose those three. Alright, yeah, let's go cut them off the list. Let's get Skrelv's Hive and Sad Robot off of the stuff down here. Hive. Check. And Sad Robot. Okay. Alright, so three more cards off the list brings us down to 86. Alright, we got like 10-ish more minutes for this one, so see if I can find anything else that I feel comfortable getting rid of at this point. We did finally lose Winota, right? I don't remember seeing her on the list as we've been going through. Yeah, okay. I thought so, but I was like, at this point, we can probably cut her if I haven't already, and apparently we reached that point way, way before now, so... Do we lose mobilization? On the one hand, it's a mana sink. On the other hand, we're trying not to. We're putting ourselves in a position where we don't have a ton of mana. Like, I do think making two soldiers a turn cycle is a reasonable thing. I think 6 mana is reasonable. I think we can get to 6 mana pretty consistently with the deck. So the only question is, do we have better things to be doing with our mana consistently? And I think we have enough card draw that the answer might be yes. Like, we might just have enough where we don't need a card like Mobilization as a mana sink. Also, we spend 3 mana on it and we get no actual creatures on the board. So... Also, we do have plenty of other things to sink our mana into, and the card draw too, which gives us more cards to actually cast, so... Yeah, maybe we don't need Mobilization then. It is nice that if we've gone all in and we've had our board blown up, if we have Mobilization in play, we can at least rebuild if we're not top decking anything useful, but if we're in that position, I think things have gone sideways. Also, we have better enchantments that could be in play, that could be the thing. Like, as I get to assemble the Legion, it's like, yeah, no, if that thing's still in play, we're doing way better than if Mobilization's in play. That's true. We also have Dawn. I keep forgetting that we have Dusk and Dawn, so... as one of our... Like, I keep remembering Dusk as one of our Wrath effects. I kind of keep forgetting that Dawn is a way to just grab all of our dead creatures back to our hand, which is not as good as putting them into play as 1/1s, but getting back all of our 2 or less power creatures is essentially getting them all back. We're leaving like 5 creatures in the graveyard, 6 creatures in the graveyard. It's fun how I used mobilization to justify not needing a bunch of the other cards in the deck, and now we're cutting mobilization also. But I think it still stands up. Like, the mobilization was the better option of all of them, and we don't even need that one, so. That's true. We have more than I thought, too. We also have Mirix and the Goblin Den and Castle Ardenvale. So we have a bunch of lands that will just sit there and make tokens for us if, we don't have anything better to do. And those are even harder to have wiped away than a random enchantment, so. If we are actually at the point where I'm just spending my whole turn making a 1/1 or 2 1/1s by tapping our lands, then we're probably not doing much better with mobilization in play in that scenario, so. Better it be one of our other utility lands. And, or better it be one of the other spells in the deck and we just have our utility lands, most likely. Yeah, okay, Imperial Recruiter, you can also go. There's a few things we can tutor for that would be really, above rate strong, but for the most part, it's just all of our creatures do a thing, but no specific one is so important. I need to go grab that one right now, in most cases. Yeah, it might be Jazal. There's a very real chance, I was going to say, it might be Jazal, it might be Abdel, it might be Daring. There's a very real chance it's all 3 of them. Like, the deck has plenty to do with its mana. It does not need these 6-drop creatures. I do want to keep the Angel. I think out of all of them, the Angel is the most unique in what it's doing for the deck. Is that last little bit of Wrath Protection. But I do think the other super expensive things, like relative to this deck anyway, might be the things that need to go. Alright, let's cut mobilization off of the token makers too. Alright, so that brings us down to 84. So we do need to cut like almost 20 more cards before the list is done. I do not have faith that any of the things that I've been thinking about cutting are going to make it then, because that is an awful lot of cuts to have to make on this list of cards that I don't want to cut anything from. Alright, we're just about. I usually like to keep it around 50 minutes, just keep it a little bit under an hour. So, I think we can call it there for right now, because I'm starting to bog down again on things that I want to cut, and, take a break from it, come back with fresh eyes on another day, and probably wind up cutting all 3 of the cards I just mentioned. But yeah, that's going to do it for me for right now, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.